So recently I've been wondering, can we bypass Defender in an easy way? And if we do, can we detect it? As you can see on my screen here, I was able to implement defenses in my lab environment, and we were able to bypass Windows Defender. And also, we alerted on it after we're using a tool called Elastic SIEM. So let me show you how I did it and also how you can maybe learn with me. So first, my lab setup looks like this. I have an OpenSense firewall, as you can see here, and this OpenSense firewall is just for my lab environment. I have two Windows machines. Windows machine with Elastic security for defense, and I also have just a Windows victim with just Windows Defender. That is no Elastic security. The one with Elastic security is also running Defender, so two. The goal here is to see if this one that has Elastic security, if Elastic security will catch after you have bypassed Defender. That way we can compare and see how things work. And we have a Kali Purple machine that is running Elastic SIEM, and then my attacker machine. There's this cool tool called ScareCrow. This person is saying they actually bypassed Defender in 15 minutes. I mean, this was cool. And I also saw this other article here that is saying they were able to bypass Defender in under an hour. So I found these two articles to be very interesting, mostly because recently I went through the OSEP, and as you can see here, I was generating my own payloads by hand, making sure that I change some of these system calls, make sure that I can bypass Defender. But hey, today we're going to start with a tool called ScareCrow, and then in the future videos, we can actually do it by hand. Okay, so what is ScareCrow? I like this article because it puts it even in clearer terms than I would. So it's a payload creation framework where you can generate your payloads that you can use, hopefully for learning purposes like what we're doing here. So we can generate some raw shell code, maybe using MSF Venom or Metasploit, Cobalt Strike, or whichever tool you like. And then you take that raw shell code, you encrypt it using AES and other methods. There's three ways you can do it with ScareCrow. And then this is able to bypass Defender because sometimes we have those statistical analysis kind of stuff. And after you generate it, it bypasses it by using NTDL. And then another part is that we can actually generate fake certificates and sign them using Golang port of the tool Limelight. That's actually very interesting as well because some tools don't usually involve a certificate signing. So we are going to be using ScareCrow today. I encourage you to read this blog post, and also these two articles I highly recommend that you go and read to learn about the techniques, part 1 and part 2. You can find them on the ScareCrow GitHub. Let's go ahead and talk about what we did. So first, I wanted to generate a payload because that's how ScareCrow works. We need to make sure that we have a payload. And from this article here, there's a simple step-by-step where you install and you can also generate a payload. So I copied this. So I came back to my Kali and said, hey, MSF Venom, can you generate my payload? In this case, we're getting the Metapredator reverse shell. And then I'm using ETH1. That's my port 443. Mostly because I want my traffic to blend in. And then I'm outputting into payload.bin. So once I have payload.bin, come back here. So I went and I say, hey, ScareCrow, can you take in the payload and sign with domain microsoft.com and use encryption AES. So this is going to be generating Microsoft-based payloads. And if you look here, this one generated a file called link.exe. Link.exe is now hosted on a simple Python simple HTTP server. And this can be accessed by my victims, victim client 1 and client 2. But before we execute anything on client 1 and client 2, let's really agree on a few things here. Right now, I have everything turned on as far as Windows Defender is concerned, and nothing is turned off. And this is on 192.168.38.96. If we go to System Info, this is Windows 10 1945, Windows 10 Pro 1945. This is also on physical hardware to make sure that we have a better comparison. Going to our other client, this one is called Crack Station. If we go to our settings as well, we notice that everything is turned on. Also, the other thing is last security updates. This was checked today. I can actually run them right now to make sure that everything is working. This is on Crack Station. If we go to our other machine, 192.168.38.96, we can also go to our security and check when the security definitions have been updated. So we can go here, virus threat protection, same, almost around the same time, but we can also check the app for updates. So on the machine that is 192.168, this machine here has Windows Defender and Elastic Security. So if we open our browser, go to our simple HTTP server, we can refresh here, and you'll notice that we have link.exe down here. I can download it, but I have a problem. If I move myself out of the way, Elastic Security is catching it. I will tell you right now that Elastic Security runs second to Defender. To prove to you, I can download other things that actually are known to be malicious, and Defender will catch it first. But right now, link.exe failed because Elastic Alert fired, not Defender. Let me show you on our Crack Station that Defender is indeed getting bypassed. So Crack Station, I showed you that Defender is already running. Let's go to and do the same thing. Refresh here inside of Crack Station and look for link.exe. Notice that link.exe is sitting here with Defender, happy as can be. So we know that we are able to bypass Defender using ScareCrow because this link.exe is actually being saved. The only problem is over here is getting removed on my other machine by Elastic Security. So what rule is actually removing it? And why is Defender getting bypassed? You might say, wait, let's execute it and see if we get a reverse shell. Maybe Defender will catch it there. So we'll start on our Crack Station where it's actually staying. If we open link.exe, we can actually run, and there's a way we can bypass this box as well, but you can run anyway. Before we run, let's make sure that we have our listener in place. So here, I'm using Metasploit with multi-handler. If I say show options, you notice that I'm listening on my IP address on port 443 using Metapredator Reverse TCP listener. So if I say exploit and I have my listener going on, now let's go back to the machine that accepted my payload. This is the one that failed. This is the one that accepted it, and say run anywhere. This is going to learn link and it will go away. Let's see if we actually got a reverse shell back. And as you can see, we got a session back. If I say shell, it will take me to my machine. Say host name. Notice that I'm in. I can run any commands that I want here. It will tell me. So I'm in on this machine where we don't have Elastic Security. And of course, we cannot run the payload on the other one where Elastic Security removed it. So what happened here? Elastic Security caught my payloads in two situations. Either as I downloaded them and also as I was trying to execute. This time it actually caught it as I was trying to download, and it is, you'll probably see here, it will say Google Chrome. But I will also show you an alert when it actually executes as well. So here you might think, well, it prevented us from downloading. Let's look at it quick. So here's a malware prevention alert, and this was an intrusion for the file link.exe. In this case, there's a 1 because we tried. And as you can see, it saw it in the downloads from Google Chrome, and the application that started this whole thing, the parent process, was Google Chrome. So the agent is healthy, and we caught this. The rule that fired was this malware prevention alert. So that was one way that it caught us. What if we tried to deliver the payload using something like SCP? Maybe we can do an SCP from Kali. Here, let's use CMD. Okay, let's go to desktop and say, hey, SCP. So I'd like to SCP from this directory here instead of hosting it using that file. Then the file that I want is called link.exe, and this is going to be, so we'd like to SCP this file to our Kali to bypass Defender and also to bypass Elastic Defense. Let's see if my syntax is correct. All right, here we use SCP to get the file to disk. Notice who is now interested. Windows Security. That's interesting. What happened? It's the same file. Well, that's what you get, right? Different delivery methods. So it saw it as a Trojan this time. So Defender did see it the second time. Let's try to download the same file again through the browser. Oh, that's very interesting. I bet now that it has been detected, we might have problems. So Windows finally woke up. So once Defender, of course, the second time Defender caught it. But on this machine here, where I did not SCP, notice that it's not. Now going back to our detection, there was another one where if I just filter by that alert and I look at this one here, this is from an earlier run that I did. This one did not involve Google Chrome. So Elastic Security was also able to execute to alert when I had finally bypassed Google Chrome when it didn't alert earlier. And I had an Outlook.exe. And as you can see here, it saw that it was a malicious process via Explorer.exe. And how did it find it? It was a malware prevention alert. One thing that I didn't mention is that I have machine learning enabled. I have a 30-day trial. So I can't tell exactly how it determined that it's malware, but from looking from this process execution here, something was able to be used to detect things. So this is very interesting. Using ScareCrow, one thing that I'll mention is you use this tool, you might have 3, 4, 5 that will get caught immediately. Make sure to go ahead and look at the different options that ScareCrow gives you in order for you to bypass Defender. If you find yourself failing a little bit, just know that there is a way if you go ahead and either read these articles or change a few of those settings. If you like this content, please remember to like, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I hope to see you next time with another video.